Good afternoon and welcome to the University of Maine and Machias for this installation celebration of Joan Ferrini-Mundy, 21st President of the University of Maine. I'm Andy Egan. I'm the Vice President and Head of Campus here at the University of Maine Machias, and I'll be serving as your MC for today's program. First, there's really no better way to kick off a ceremony like this than with some music. We're joined here today by the Washington County Children's Chorus under the direction of Christine Guy, who will perform a few choral selections for us. The chorus is open to children ages 7 through high school from across Washington County. The chorus has performed in the United States and Europe, and they will begin with America the Beautiful. Christine. Now I would ask you to all please rise as the Washington County Children's Chorus sings our national anthem.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the hope of
Please be seated. Before we continue, can we please show our appreciation once again for the Washington County Children's Chorus and their director, Christine Guy, and accompanist Lee Downing. It's my distinct honor to have been asked to host this most special and historic event. Today's installation ceremony is the kickoff event leading up to the inauguration, which concludes a week of academic activities, distinguished awards, student expositions, and incredible speakers that have involved and engaged students, faculty, staff, alumni, and the communities that we serve. The University of Maine and its regional campus, the University of Maine in Machias, is an institution that serves its state and its region and its many constituencies with great distinction. Joan Ferrini-Mundy will formally assume the presidency on Friday, March 29th, at her inauguration ceremony on the UM campus. She will continue to carry forward the great tradition and awesome responsibility of leading this wonderful university, of which UMM is now an important and integral part. As one would expect for this installation ceremony, we have a number of distinguished guests with us here today, including President Ferrini-Mundy's husband. We extend a warm welcome to Joan's husband, Rick Mundy. Please allow me to introduce the rest of the people you see here on stage. In a few moments, we'll each offer words of welcome and greeting to our new president. Kindly hold your applause until all have been introduced. First, State Representative Rena Newell from the Passamaquoddy tribe. Representing the student body, Mr. Jeffrey D. Moore, Student Senate President. Representing the faculty at UMM, Daniel Qualls, Faculty President. Representing UMM staff, Ms. Marianne Thibodeau, Director of the Merrill Library. Mr. Judson McBride, Headmaster, Washington Academy, and Chair of the UMM Board of Visitors. Susan Corbett, Founder and Director of the National Digital Equity Center. Mr. James Irwin, Chair of the University of Maine System Board of Trustees. Dr. James H. Page, Chancellor of the University of Maine System, and Dr. Joan Ferrini-Mundy, President of the University of Maine and the University of Maine at Machias. Please join me in welcoming to the podium State Representative Rena Newell.
Good afternoon. I am most honored to be here. I see some friendly faces here. Took me a little bit to recognize them. I want to definitely say, send a message today. I'm trying to untie this bundle. I want to welcome incoming president. She suggested that I called her Joan. However, Ferrini-Mundy to her position within the University of Maine system, in particular at the University of Maine in Orono and in Machias. I want to extend a welcome and a thank you in this quick message that I hope to send on behalf of the tribal chiefs, Chief Nicholas from Indian Township and Chief Maladana from the Passamaquoddy tribe at Pleasant Point, and the tribal citizens of its communities, our homeland here in the Down East region, from which I am absolutely proud to be part of. There's no greater place to live, Joan, than the Down East. I would like to say thank you to the University of Maine system. Chancellor. Chancellor Page. as well as all the other presidents of the university system. In my former position, prior to becoming the state representative for the Passamaquoddy tribe, I served willingly to advocate for the tribal students of our communities and throughout the University of Maine system for all of our Maine students as well. It's with that that I'd like to extend a thank you for allowing, an opportunity for myself, to join the table at meetings at the University of Maine System's office to advocate on behalf of our tribal students. And it's my hope in my position in Augusta that I'll continue to advocate on behalf of tribal students. But I can say today that I advocated on behalf of all of the Maine students. So for that, I'm certainly most grateful. So I'm hoping, is anybody keeping track of my messages? Did I extend the welcome correctly? And did I extend the thank you? What I'd like to do now is I want to present, as a way to show, to continue to foster a working relationship between the tribes and the University of Maine system. I want to extend to the incoming president, Joan, a braided sweetgrass, to not only congratulate you on your position, but to welcome a consistent and, future dialogue. This sweetgrass braid was made by a tribal elder. He braided these. I take great pride in sharing these. This brings good medicine as well. So to you, thank you so much. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. I look forward to working with you. I also have another one that I would like to extend to Chancellor Page, if he would. I've seen him a couple of times, and we're kind of looking at each other, wondering where we've seen each other before. And now I've got a really good look at him, so I'm sure.
Lucky you.
So I want to say thank you, and I again welcome continued dialogue and conversations, and look forward to working with you as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Can you tell that I'm working on my public speaking skills? I'd also like to just extend thank yous to the other members that are on the stage today. It is quite an honor and a blessing to stand before you today to offer a message of welcome and to offer a message of thank you, Willie-Woon. And I do look forward to a positive working relationship and to continue to foster positive working relationships with the tribe and the state and to all the citizens of Maine. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Jeff Moore, and I'm the student body president here at UMM. On behalf of the student body here at Machias, I'd like to welcome Board of Trustees members, Board of Visitors members, UMM students, staff, faculty, distinguished guests, and a very special welcome to UMM's new president, Joan Ferrini-Mundy. I would like to start off by saying what an honor it is to be standing here on this stage with these wonderful people. I would also like to thank the tireless laborers who have been working around the clock to make this event possible. While us students may have been on spring break last week, our campus was anything but idle. In my time here at UMM, I've seen many changes. Over the years, I've seen some incredible students and faculty staff members depart from Machias. But we have also gained some extraordinary people to our family. I'm very optimistic that in welcoming President Ferrini-Mundy to our university, we will be marking the beginning of a new era for UMM, a new era that will help UMM reach its true potential. To paraphrase the late and great Jerry Garcia, there's a lot one can do to broaden oneself as a person. That is one of the many benefits of extending one's family. It improves a person, it makes them better. So, on behalf of the student body, we welcome you, President Ferrini-Mundy, to our family here at UMM. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Daniel Qualls, and I'm the faculty president here at the University of Maine at Machias for our faculty assembly. And on behalf of the faculty, I'd like to welcome everyone, and especially President Joan Ferrini-Mundy. I'm trying to think of the right word. We were excited, we were appreciative to have 3 representatives on the search committee. I was on that committee, Charles Rutledge was on it, and Tora Johnson. And it was a great experience, and I urge all of you to be on one of those. You could get continuing education credits for it, or I'm sure there's some professional development in there somewhere. It was a great experience. And I'd also like to, on behalf of the faculty, say that we're ready to continue the development of the partnership. We're excited about that, and welcome, Joan.
Good afternoon. I'm Mary Ann Thibodeau, Director of the Merrill Library, and I'm honored to be here to deliver greetings from the UMM staff. President Ferrini-Mundy, on behalf of the regional campus of the University of Maine, the University of Maine Machias staff and I offer you the warmest welcome and congratulate you as you undertake this new and exciting journey. The partnership that we have undertaken together, launched by the Board of Trustees and the Chancellor, is both exciting and groundbreaking, and yet at times uncertain and muddled. This transformative experiment of ours is creative and innovative model, born of necessity and filled with opportunity, which is closely being watched by all of higher education. No pressure. The UMM staff pledged to work with you, for you, and with our colleagues here in Orono to ensure that all of our students receive the guidance, resources, advice, support, and encouragement each of them deserve and expect that will enable them to lead the lives that they envision for themselves and their families here in the great state of Maine and beyond. We wish you every success in this new role. We're rooting for you.
Good afternoon. I'm Judson McBride, Chair of the Board of Visitors here at the University of Maine at Machias. It's an exciting day here on the UMM campus. I feel fortunate to have a small part of it. My grandmother attended University of Maine at Machias, my mother-in-law, my wife, 2 of my brothers. Thrilled to have my son here as a student now, and he's loving it. And now I get to be a part finally after all these years. And many of you out there probably have a similar sort of multi-generational UMM story that you could tell as well. In the 3 years I've been on the Board of Visitors, I've only known interim leadership, interim presidents. We've been served very well by those interims, and they helped us through a difficult time of transition. But it's exciting now to finally have a president in place who has exceptional leadership. Her support for the University of Maine at Machias has been pretty evident in every meeting that I've been in with her, every conversation that I've had with her. She definitely sees University of Maine at Machias as an equal partner in the primary partnership, and it's obvious that she's come to understand and appreciate the value of the University of Maine at Machias to this community, to the region, and to the state. In this time of changing landscapes in higher education, I'm confident that the University of Maine at Machias will chart the right course with President Ferrini-Mundy's hand at the helm. So welcome, President Ferrini-Mundy.
Now, just a brief musical interlude. I'm going to introduce Alan Kryzak, who's a composer and filmmaker and a member of the UMM Interdisciplinary Fine Arts faculty. Al Kryzak teaches music and film, digital audio production, documentary filmmaking, and piano, working with founding IFA faculty Gene Nichols and Bernie Vinzani. I think they're both here today. I know Gene is here. Please help me to give a warm welcome to Alan as he performs his original composition, Prelude 12. The piece draws from Alan's Transparent Preludes collection released by Ukrainian pianist Ivan Dochenko in 2014. Alan. Thanks, Alan. Just a guy from Buffalo, right? In the fall 2017, Ms. Susan Corbett launched the National Digital Equity Center, a program of the Axiom Education and Training Center, collaborating with local and global change makers, relentlessly driving disruptive strategies to close the digital divide in Maine and across the United States. Ms. Corbett is the director of the National Digital Equity Center. Susan serves as the consultant of the Axiom Education and Training Center, a 501c3 nonprofit corporation with a mission dedicated to furthering the lifelong educational and professional development of residents and businesses in Washington County and Maine. She is preeminently authority on rural broadband deployment and works closely with economic development and rural organizations to advance internet connectivity to all homes in Maine and across the United States. Please help me in welcoming Ms. Corbett.
President Ferrini-Mundy, Chancellor Page, Vice President Egan, State Representative Newell, Board of Trustees, Board of Visitors, faculty, students, and honored guests. It is an honor and a privilege to be invited to participate in this celebration, and I am just delighted to be here. Last week, I started a new book, Be Fearless, by Jean Case. As I read chapter after chapter, I kept going back to the beginning of the book, the epigraph. Let me share it with you. If you added up all the times you failed, all the times you came up short, would you try again? What if failure wasn't a limitation? What if taking risk was your status quo? What kind of world would you imagine? When the challenges we face seem overwhelming, we need to experiment with new thinking and try new things, create unlikely partnerships, and set audacious goals. To build a better world, to make a real difference, we have to take bigger risks and make bigger bets. And if we fail and fail again, we have to get right back up and dream even bigger. To live in a world worth living in, we have to let challenge inspire us. We have to take risk, be bold, and fail forward. We have to be fearless. In 2005, I joined Axiom, a company with a goal of bringing broadband connectivity to every home and business in Washington County and across the state of Maine. That work continues today by others with the same commitment and dedication. During those early years, failure happened often. It had to, as we tried new technologies, explored new ideas. As failures were happening, so were the wins. And the wins were sweet, exhilarating, and they inspired us to do more, to step outside of our comfort zones, to be visionary and bold. When we open ourselves up to taking risk, we learn about others as well as ourselves, and sometimes we step into the unknown. Along came 2014, and we created a nonprofit, the Axiom Education and Training Center, to house all of our education work, adult education in Washington County, digital literacy classes across the state, an after-school STEM program for students, Family Futures Down East, and so much more. We have the honor and privilege of working with community partners and collaborators, all with great minds, energy, and the passion to make Washington County and Maine the best it can be. Education is our foundation, even going back to those early years as we were learning, experimenting, and pushing the boundaries of new technology. And what about dreaming? I have dreams, you have dreams. I dream that not only do all homes and businesses have robust broadband, but that we all learn how to utilize technology and push its limits. And I imagine a world in that we are all connected to each other and the world around us. Last year, under our nonprofit, we rolled out the National Digital Equity Center with the goal of closing the digital divide here in Maine and across the United States. If you're going to dream, you may as well dream big. I stepped down as the CEO of Axiom to take on the role of director of the National Digital Equity Center and rolled out a program, the Maine Digital Inclusion Initiative. Let's take care of Maine first. Our partners on the project, the University of Maine and their 7 campuses, and the Maine State Library and the 227 libraries across the state. At times, the goal seems overwhelming and challenging, but with creative partnerships, I'm betting we'll succeed. Failure, risk, dreams, goals, fail again, get back up and start again. In Jean Case's final words in her epigraph, to live in a world worth living in, we have to let challenge inspire us. We have to take risks, be bold, and fail forward. We have to be fearless. So let's just do it. Thank you all very much.
Chancellor Page, President Ferrini-Mundy, Head of Campus Egan, Representative Newell, fellow trustees, faculty, staff, students, and gathered friends. My name is James Irwin. I'm chair of the board of the University of Maine system, and it's my honor to represent that board today I bring greetings and congratulations to you all on the occasion of President Ferrini-Mundy's installation as President of the University of Maine and its regional campus, the University of Maine at Machias. We're all fortunate that President Ferrini-Mundy chose to come a few miles north from her native New Hampshire to lend her considerable talents to the needs of Maine's public higher education system. I want to focus for just a minute on what today's event means both for Washington County and for the state. This is an event of great significance in the history of this university. It represents the culmination of several years of hard work, collaborative, practical, solutions-oriented work by both the University of Maine at Machias and by the University of Maine to support this campus's ability to continue to serve down East Maine in a time of enormous challenge and change. This is also an event of real significance for the University of Maine system. It demonstrates the board and the Chancellor's commitment to our smaller campuses. We believe strongly in their critical importance to their communities and to their regions, and to our goal of bringing more accessible, more affordable, and more relevant post-secondary education to all Maine citizens. As circumstances change, needs evolve, our campuses must evolve as well. System leadership, including our campus presidents, will continue to support all of our campuses as they adapt and transform to fit the constantly changing needs of the workforce that drives Maine's economy. These changes are not easy. They may be more radical than anyone might have thought necessary even a few years ago, but they are and will continue to be necessary for us to maintain a strong and relevant presence across the state. You have understood the need to adapt. You have acted courageously to embrace this opportunity. And you have demonstrated the ability to make happen in a uniquely positive and mutually supportive relationship with the University of Maine. Your work, our work, is not done. Indeed, given the accelerating changes all around us, it may never be done. But today we can pause to recognize this salutary milestone in the evolution of the University of Maine at Machias and of the University of Maine system. So I close with congratulations to President Ferrini-Mundy on her installation as your president, and congratulations to you all. Well done. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Jim Page. I'm the Chancellor of the University of Maine system. And I was sitting here on the dais for the last 40 minutes or so looking out, and it struck me immediately that about 30 months ago, most of you were sitting in a room with me looking at each other kind of, what are we going to do next? And it was, to reiterate something that Chair Irwin just noted, it was the courage, it was the innovation, it was the recognition of what this campus means to not just its students, but to the community and by extension the state that drove all of us to think creatively and innovatively. You most of all. We were there to help and provide resources and some data to get us to today. Now we're 30 months more or less down that road. This is a milestone, and a milestone in which everybody should be proud. But it's a milestone and a step to the next steps, and those will be just as exciting, and the progress, the successes, and a few failures along the way, undoubtedly, will be part and parcel of where we go together in the coming weeks, months, years. I do want, at the risk of singling out, I want to take a couple of notes. First of all, that the campus leaders, I'm delighted to see both Stuart Swain and Kay Kimball here today because they represented you in how we move forward as a community during the leadership. And I want to take a moment just to thank them. If anybody was new to the area and they needed a better or a clear, quick account of what the University of Maine Machias brings to the table, they should have attended the BOV presentation last evening. There was a combination, Alan's film, that showed the critical importance of the two items that bring, that serve, I'm not even sure the right word, that encompass what it is to be here in Down East, the natural world, the natural resources, and the people who inhabit it, and that relation between them, which is essential to this community, but is essential to the state. And in the lessons, the research, the work, the progress you make is actually a lesson to not just the entire state, but the entire country. And the two young women who came and spoke to us about their success and the hard work they put in on Family Futures Down East, those two items represented as clear as anything could the reasons why this partnership not just has to be successful, but ultimately will be successful and wildly successful, I'm sure of that. I'm also very appreciative of the fact in seeing the President Ferrini-Mundy's Orono cabinet is here today, almost everybody, and I'd like to thank them because it's their partnership together with you and dozens of your colleagues who could not be here today, but it's this team that is going to drive that success forward, and thank you all for coming today as well. I just realized I didn't coordinate that with Joan, so I might have taken, a paragraph of her speech away. Now, to Joan. In choosing President Ferrini-Mundy, by design and by a little bit of luck, we have someone who is as comfortable here in Machias, down at Helens, or out on the coast, or down on Beale Island, as she is at the halls in Washington and the National Science Foundation or Congress. And that combination of recognizing what each of those worlds brings to each other and how they are dependent and how they reinforce each other is going to be a key secret, the secret sauce of this institution's success, of the University of Maine's success, of our student success, and of our region's success. I could go on at great length. I'm not going to. You can read that in the brochure, more about her background if you're not already familiar with it. But I'll tell you this, I'll end with this before introducing her. You may know, or you may have figured out, that both Joan and I have a background in mathematics. So here's the offer. If we're ever going somewhere back and forth between here and Bangor or up to Fort Kent for a board meeting, and any of you have to go, you want to catch a ride with us, because we got the fun conversation in the car, okay? On that note, anything you want to know about Riemannian geometry, we're your team. All right. It is my enormous pleasure and honor to introduce the person who on Friday, but we'll bypass that little detail, who on Friday will be officially the new president, the 21st president of the University of Maine, your president here in Machias, and the first individual, well, that's not quite true, because the first person inaugurated under that, because Sue Hunter was, of course, president for both as well. But the first person who is going to be taking what you have done and move this into the future in such an exciting way. So, please join me in welcoming President Joan Ferrini-Mundy.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you, everyone. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to give a math lecture now, maybe. I could probably adjust and do that. Good afternoon, and thank you to Chancellor Page, Board of Trustees Chair Irwin, State Representative Newell, Susan Corbett, Vice President for Academic Affairs and Head of Campus Andy Egan, the University of Maine at Machias Board of Visitors Chair Judd McBride, members of the University of Maine at Machias Board of Visitors, President's Cabinet, and distinguished guests. It's a pleasure to be here. I'd like to offer a very special welcome to the students, faculty, and staff of the University of Maine at Machias and the University of Maine who are here, and the community members who are here as well. And let's have one more round of applause for our wonderful young people and their singing today. I'd also like to recognize my husband, Rick Mundy, who is here today without our puppy, Emmy. She was here the last time, though, right out there at the holiday party. Rick, Emmy, and our children provide me with support and grounding. Like when they say, please turn off your work brain when I become a little too presidential around the house. I am just delighted and thrilled and honored to kick off the events of my inauguration week here in Machias. In just the past 24 hours, I heard Betty Slicer and Shannon Demarest tell us about how Family Futures Down East has changed their lives. I listened to the excitement from UMM students at last night's reception about work ranging from documentary filmmaking with Alan Kryzak to mapping the town of New Vineyard, Maine by Lexi Daggett, using geographic information systems work. I've learned about Jillian Dow's work with her colleagues on invasive green crabs at MDI Biological Laboratory. And I watched for an eagle and fledglings over the Machias River this morning and didn't see them, so maybe that's not really the case. I'll have to come back. But I'm reminded by these events of how special this place is and how our partnership together between the University of Maine and the University of Maine at Machias is creating a new model for the University of Maine system, a model that holds central the concept of mutualism. And you can talk to Andy Egan more about the meaning of mutualism. So happy birthday. Did you know that it was exactly 110 years ago this month, in 1909, that the Washington State Normal School was created? According to the wonderful history of UMM by Randall Kindleberger, and I'm delighted to meet her today, this came about in part because of the efforts of 3 prominent Machias business leaders who led a campaign to have a normal school here to supply Washington County with elementary and secondary school teachers. And anyone who knows about the University of Maine at Machias' very committed Board of Visitors today, current leaders in Machias and Washington County, understands that with all that has changed in 110 years, one thing is the same. The close relationship, the symbiotic relationship between the community of Machias and the university is vibrant, special, and definitely mutualistic. It's been more than a year now since my first conversations with people from the University of Maine and the University of Maine at Machias, starting in a hotel conference room in Portland, where I began to understand a little bit about Machias, and remember being so proud of myself that I even knew how to pronounce it before I got there. Tora Johnson, Dan Qualls, Charles Rutledge were there. There was some conversation about pirates that I don't remember the details about, but I have learned so much since, and I learned a great deal right there and then in that room as I listened to those colleagues interact with others from the University of Maine and from the community, and learned about the deep appreciation and commitment and passion really for the work that is done here in Machias. And I've learned a lot since. So what have I learned? Well, Josie Griffin, the student who gave me a tour on my very first campus visit, which was another cold day, but a bright, clear day, she came to University of Maine at Machias from Louisiana to play soccer here and could not have been more excited about the hands-on learning experiences she was able to get in marine science. I remember when Brian Beal introduced himself to me as Karl Yastrzemski, which I did know enough to know was not the case. When I was here last March being announced as the president, and subsequently watching Brian describe his amazing shellfish research program to so many different audiences and learning why it means so much to Down East Maine. I continue to learn from faculty, staff, and students about the commitment to student success that is central in the classrooms, the athletic fields, and beyond, in the dormitories, in the lounge for commuters at the Down East Institute. The focus on learning and growing is absolutely central here. And the staffs share that same commitment. I remember Bob Ferris explaining to me the important connection between the condition of the campus facilities and the ability to make this a safe and welcoming place to optimize student success. I've also learned that your wonderful librarian, Mary Ann Thibodeau, helps to make sure that there's mini golf in the library at key times to reduce stress. And I heard yesterday, and I need to follow up on this, Mary, where'd you go? Over. That there's this thing sometimes that happens with faculty and staff get-togethers called librations. I don't know what that's about. Under the whale skeleton anyway, I hope to learn more. The thread that ties all of these observations together at UMaine at Machias is the concept of community. The kind of learning that can happen in a community is especially powerful because at some level, everyone is invested, everyone is a learner, everyone is a teacher, and the success of the community is completely intertwined with the success of individuals. So it is no wonder that there are so many wonderful lessons to learn here. Professor Kindleberger's history also shows how resilient and adaptable this campus has been in its 110 years. From normal school to teacher education institution, to a home for business education, environmental studies and recreation management, to an identity as an environmental liberal arts institution, I believe that it is because of the community commitment on this campus that the campus adapts and transforms itself, always with a focus on serving the changing needs of the people of Machias and of Washington County. UMM was designated as an engaged campus by the Carnegie Foundation, a well-deserved designation that captures the community ethos here. And this community and this engagement are especially exciting to me as I look forward, as your president, to defining tomorrow through UMM's next chapter, now in partnership with the University of Maine, and always as a centerpiece in the Washington County context. I'm pleased to announce today an important part of that chapter. Beginning in the 2019-2020 academic year, we are launching nursing outreach in rural Maine at the University of Maine at Machias in partnership with the School of Nursing at the University of Maine. Next year at this time, we will have a first cohort of pre-licensure BSN nursing students at the University of Maine at Machias. We still have work to do with academic and program leaders, our enrollment management team, and clinical partners, but we are proceeding with plans for a January 2020 cohort. I just get to do the announcing. The hard work got done by faculty and staff on both of our campuses, and I think they were a little nervous about my announcing it today, but it's going to go, and we're ready. Okay? Our commitment is a program that prepares local residents for the nursing positions that have to be filled to sustain community access to quality health care. As we finalize program plans, we will be focusing our efforts and resources on delivering cutting-edge curriculum and clinical placements in the region, so our engagement together will be deeper and stronger. Okay. An inauguration is a celebration, not of an individual called the president, but of the institution and its history and its future. And as your new president, I am very excited to be a part of the new chapter. There is an important historic benchmark in our partnership coming up when a team from the New England Commission of Higher Education will visit both of our campuses as part of our next accreditation. I want to thank all of the people here in Machias who have been a part of preparing the very thorough and careful self-study document. It's a wonderful opportunity to take stock of where we are, to reflect on where we are, and to think about what's next. The team that will be visiting will take a look at our partnership and how things are going, and I'm sure will provide us with some ideas that can be a part of our future for what comes next. I do have one more announcement, less dramatic than the last one, but in response to a very heartfelt student request this morning in front of the Board of Trustees, I want to let everyone know that I will be holding open office hours here in Machias at 1 p.m. on April 24th, and we'll get that announcement out, and I look forward to hearing from people and talking to you. Thank you all for coming together here today and for celebrating the University of Maine at Machias. I want to thank everyone who has made such kind and welcoming remarks in the stage party, and to tell everyone how pleased I am to be a part of this team. As we move to phase 2 of the partnership, I urge us all to frame the new questions that will define our work together in phase 2. How can our faculty and students move more fluidly, both physically and virtually, to fully access the exciting opportunities for learning, discovering, and engaging at both institutions? What are the implications of UMaine's designation as a land grant and sea grant institution in the new context of our partnership for the University of Maine at Machias? How can the incredible community engagement at Machias be replicated elsewhere in the system? And you'll think of many more questions. So my challenge to students, faculty, staff, administrators, and advisors and community members who are here, let's work together to define tomorrow by preserving the community and engagement that are so central and special to Machias, and by expanding and adapting to serve the learners of Machias, Washington County, Maine, and beyond. As president, I know that we are already finding the way to engage in these next steps, and that by our next birthday, both institutions will be transforming together. Thank you for welcoming me so very warmly to the University of Maine at Machias, and for working together to realize the potential of our primary partnership, and for allowing me the privilege of being president of such a special institution. Thank you very much.
Before we conclude today's ceremony, I'd like to thank the many talented and dedicated individuals who helped make this ceremony possible. Some are listed on the back of your program. Others are here more anonymously. This wouldn't have happened without their logistical help and organizational help in arranging this ceremony. So thanks to all those folks who were involved in that. This concludes today's celebration. Thank you all for participating in the event. There will be a reception just behind us in the lobby, and hope to see you all there. Thank you all.